Good morning, friends. Boker Tov, Chavrim. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and I have to thank my good friend Lior from Israel for sending me. Didn't send the article itself. He's a journalist there, and he sent me some information about this Negev Summit. And of course, I looked it up real quick. March the 28th is when this occurred, about a week ago. Of course, today is April the 6th, 2022. And the Negev Summit is going to become a regular event for the Israeli Arab parties to what they call the Abraham Accords. This is so profound biblically, it's not even funny. And I've been up since 5:30 this morning working on this. So now almost 4 hours just before starting the recording. And I'm going to take you on a journey through Daniel chapter 11. We're going to look at this article. We're going to look at how this is biblical prophecy in the makings. And I'm afraid a lot of people just don't even realize the significance of what's happening. We're going to be looking at now, and I've got it already. I'll pull it up here on the screen for you real quick. This is in Daniel chapter 11. We're going to be focused from verse 36 all the way down to 41, and you're going to really begin to understand the Hebrew verbiage that is used here. It's not what you think. I've gone over many times before about the king of the south, the king of the north, but I'm going to break down a lot more of this, especially in light of what we're seeing, and then show you what's really happening to prove this point here. I know a lot of people think about where President Trump started the Abraham Accords and have paved the way for an unprecedented Arab-Israeli defense cooperation. Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to find in Daniel's prophecy as well. So we're going to get into that. And of course, the Negev, where it was held at, is called the Kibbutz Sde Boker. This is where the event was held at. It is the retirement home of the first Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion. And so let's just really dive into this. All right. So anyway, this is what happened here. The people that are sitting at the table here, you got the foreign minister right here, right there at the top of your screen, Yair Lapid. We have also the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, to the right here on your screen. Then you have Egyptian's Foreign Minister, Sameh Shokri. You have UAE Foreign Minister, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. Boy, he's got to have a lot of names, doesn't he? The Moroccan Foreign Minister, Nasser Bourita, and the Bahrain Foreign Minister, Abdulatif bin Rashid Al Zayani. They're holding their meeting, and it's called the Negev Summit, the Kibbutzim Sde Boker in the Negev Desert region in southern Israel, and this happened on March the 28th. There was some type of an attack where 2 Israeli policemen were killed during the time of the meeting, and it seemed to kind of overshadow it first, but then the solidarity that began to come out of this group here. So the leaders of the participating countries, Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, announced the regular meetings about regional security during a joint press conference at the conclusion of the first convening of Arab and Israeli leaders. This meeting is the first of its kind, but not the last, said Israel's Foreign Minister Yair Lapid. Last night, we decided to make the Negev Summit into a permanent forum. The convening and announcement are significant because they indicate that the Abraham Accords peace agreement signed in 2020 that normalized relations between the Israel and the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Morocco are more than symbolic. The countries at the summit discussed their growing ties with Israel and their desire to create a united front in opposition to Iran in the region. The meeting took place in Sde Boker, in a city in Israel's southern Negev region that was also the home and burial place of Israel's founding Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion. All right, now, the real interesting part of this is the fact of where the meeting is held. It's held in the Negev. All right, so let's begin to break this down biblically and look at this. I'm not going to start at the beginning of the verse here in Daniel chapter 11, but we're going to focus right in first on what is translated as the king of the south. That's verse 40. At the time of the end shall the king of the south, now this is just what it's written in English, but I'm going to break it down for you, push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, with horsemen, with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow as he passes through. Sorry, my notes kind of cover some of the words in English, but I want you, and I've gone over this particular part of the passage many, many times in the past, but I'm going to break it down again for you and then show you the context of this. All right. Now, the part I'm wanting to focus on first is the fact that it's the king of what we call the south. If you look to your left in Hebrew, it says, Yanatinagach imo melech ha-Negev. All right. So the melech in the yellow right there, that's the melech, the king of the Negev desert. And that king pushes with, he's going to push with the king of the north, is what's going to happen there. So it becomes an alliance. It's not that the king of the south is making the king of the north mad, and then the king of the north is going to come down and destroy Israel. That's totally false. Because it literally says that and he shall enter into the countries, plural. All right, he goes into the countries and shall overflow as he passes through. So it has nothing to do with overthrowing Israel. It's overthrowing those countries in the Middle East that do not agree with them. Remember General Wesley Clark? Maybe we should just bring up a quick video on General Wesley Clark just as a reminder, right? General Wesley Clark. And what did he say that they had found out, right? They had found out.
We don't worry about it.
Right here.
Joining us now to discuss energy security.
Nope, we don't want that one. General Wesley Clark. Overthrow. Here we go. It's this one right here. This is the video. Listen to what he says here.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Imagine that. 7 countries in 5 years. That's what he said they were going to take down. All right. So this is clearly in line with they're going to overcome these countries. Now, I want to back up now and really break down I don't want to say the entire chapter, this section of chapter 11, because Daniel chapter 11 deals with a different time periods as it goes down through. It's not just about modern times. It's ancient wars and alliances and things like that, and then it comes all the way down. But when we get down to around verse 36, this is when it's dealing with the time you're living in right now. Like I said, it's going to be very shocking information as I share this with you. So bear with me. Pray for me. I guess it's going to do good to pray for me right now because I'm doing the video now. But at any rate, pray for me anyway. I appreciate that. In verse 36, and the king shall do according to his will, and shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak strange things against the God of gods. This is crazy, right? And he shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for which is determined shall be done. So he's going to prosper all the way down to the end. Keep that in mind. Now this is where the translation gets scrupled up, and therefore interpretation of prophecy becomes skewed. Verse 37, neither shall he regard the gods of his fathers. Ve'al Elohei avitav lo yabin. Now the word regard there, right? You see it in English, the word regard. Okay, well I can't highlight it now, but anyway, is from the word yabin right here on the left-hand side of your screen in Hebrew. And yabin, of course, is a compound word. Bin is the root of the word. Bin is actually the way Joshua's last name was spelled. Joshua Ben-Nun. And which that word is a divine understanding. So literally, it says, and also upon the gods of his fathers, he doesn't have a divine understanding. That's really what it says. Now, I'm still a little bit perplexed by the fact of the gods of his fathers, but that's what it says. Neither shall he regard the gods of his fathers, or neither shall he have divine understanding of the gods of his fathers, and neither, now they put on there the word that have the desire of women. That word there is actually precious woman. Now, when we look at this, that precious woman could even be considered the bride of Christ. You see, Jesus is the Son of God, the true Father. So, truly Israel, if we were to take it, because maybe it's not that it's trying to say plural in gods per se, but if we were to say that Jesus Christ being the Son of God, and he is God on earth himself, then perhaps what we're looking at is that Scripture is actually saying he doesn't have a revelation, neither of the Father nor of the Father's Son, Jesus Christ. And neither does he have a divine understanding of who, because the word there is nasim. All right, let's break over here. The chamadot, that precious bride, nasim. See, that's nasim is a wife. And neither does he have a divine understanding of that precious woman or that precious bride, that precious wife. So and this is only a conjecture here because I know what the words say. I do understand it myself. Ki alkol yatagadal, but he shall magnify himself above all. And I'm seeing that even more so because it's almost like the Messianic community and even the evangelical community, and in many cases, they have gone right along with the idea of lifting up Israel, magnifying Israel, like Israel is something great, when in reality, Israel needs that divine revelation that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and that he came and he took a bride for himself. But instead of what Christ did when he came 2,000 years ago being magnified, this king of the Negev, the Israeli leaders have lifted up the nation of Israel instead. And it's a great injustice even to the Jewish people, because after all, the ones that are doing this are these elites, these ones that are claiming to be Jewish people, not even real Jewish people. I don't say they don't have DNA of Jewish people, just like Jesus says about the Pharisees. He said, they said, we be of Abraham. He said, well, yes, you are of Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me, a man that showeth you the way of life. He said, this did not Abraham. And then he goes on to say, you are of your father, the devil. That was the Pharisees. All right, now we got that part. Verse 37. Let's move to verse 38. But in his place shall he honor the God of strongholds. Okay. That stronghold is basically like a god of war. Whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and costly things. So literally, he has broken away from serving the true Father and has gone in to serving a foreign God, as we're going to find out in verse 39, an alien God. And he serves that alien God, that foreign God, with war and money. In the military-industrial complex is a military money-making machine, is exactly what it is. And then we look at this Abraham Accords, and what is it? It's all about that alliance, right? All about that military alliance, and now they're bringing in Arabic countries to be a part of that military alliance. Even as President Trump's Abraham Accords have paved the way for unprecedented Arab-Israeli defense cooperation. And it was the evangelicals that were behind President Trump. It says the historic achievement creates a pathway for increased cooperation between America, Israeli, and Arab countries on trade investment, while strengthening the abilities of the three to deter Iranian aggression through previous unheard of Arab-Israeli defense cooperation. In the blue, the exercise allowed the United Arab Emirates Emirates and Israel alongside other participants to work together to complete different aspects of shared mission by practicing air-to-air combat, air-to-ground precision strikes, and evading attacks from surface-to-air missiles. Talk about military alliance, cooperation. Talk about biblical prophecy right there. There it is. Now let's go to verse 39. And he shall deal with the strongest fortress with the help of a foreign god. The word nacher, literally like alien. Foreign, you can still say foreign, but it's elo necher, some kind of alien being. And we go on to read, whom he shall acknowledge and shall increase glory. He makes great. This alien God is what he does. And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for a price. Now, that's kind of strange in itself. Dividing the land for a price. What? He's going to divide Jerusalem. He's willing to divide up Jerusalem and give the Arabics, the Palestinians, part of Jerusalem in exchange for the building of the third temple. Now, because we're talking about the third temple and dividing of Jerusalem, and he's willing to do this, and we already see that it says He's got this foreign God. It's a God that his fathers don't even know. Let me share with you something then. Let me just share with you something that, and I've got to make sure I'm in the right place here. Yeah, this is it right here. This is Rabbi Tzadok. If you remember him, he's the one where I shared with you, and before I do that, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Rabbi Tzadok. This is his book, Aliens, Angels, and Demons. He's very popular on the series on aliens on the History Channel. And what's even more interesting, of course, is like, for example, one of the quotes here, he says in his book, page 383, I believe it is, "The watchers are the guardians of the earth. They serve God and do his bidding. More than this, the Bible clearly and properly identifies their dragon nature. All those centuries of interpretations as referred to above have almost completely erased their original identity. In Isaiah, the tele-dragon masters are called seraphim. Seraphim stood above for him, six wings to each one. With two he had covered his face, and with two he had covered his feet, and with two he would fly." Seraphim are not sorophim, burning ones. They are seraphs, which means serpents. The seraphim portrayed in Isaiah 6 are surrounding God, referred to there as Adonai, and Adonai is not the temple normally called the Mikdash or Mishkan. Adonai is the Hikal. The name of God and the name of Hikal used here in Isaiah 6 to describe the temple are terms understood in the Kabbalah to refer to the Olam, dimensions, as Asiya, and Asiya is the realm of our space-time and continuum, as we saw above from Rabbi Sayuni. This Asiatic domain itself is the domain of the Tele. Thus, we can definitively conclude that the biblical seraphim are none other than our holy dragons, the Tele. That's Rabbi Tzadok. Talk about this man creating you a foreign god. I'm not implying you specifically, but you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to get you to understand. There, he's definitely giving you something strange to think about. Now, but I said the temple. Remember, because they're going to divide the land for a price, and I told you it's going to be to build the third temple. I've already been told, I've disclosed it on our Patreon channel, that I've been told there that Naftali Bennett is going to be the prime minister that will bring about the third temple. Let's look at why. Let's look at what Rabbi Tzadok says about that.
Solomon was in need of a higher technology in order to build his temple. He knew that he had to contact Ashmodai, later known by the Greek name Asmodeus, who was the head of the Daemons. With this ring, clearly none of human origins, Ashmodai was hereby compelled and required to provide for Solomon whatever he needed to fulfill the building of the temple of God. So Ashmodai gave to Solomon something called the shamir. Now the shamir is described in traditional literature as this little worm put on the stone and would cut it precisely. The shamir was a quote-unquote worm that could cut and drill through even the hardest of stones.
Now imagine that, right? Calling on the demons to build the third temple. And that's Rabbi Tzadok. Let me pull you back so you can see what we're talking about here. Claiming this. So think about what we're looking at here. And he shall deal with the strongest force with the help of a foreign god, all right? And he shall acknowledge increase in glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many. Now the question is, so we have to look at this, you know. They're going to rule over many and shall divide the land for a price. But who are the ones that are going to rule over many? I'm not really sure at this point, but let's continue on. But remember, that foreign god is an alien type of god. And you're going to see more. We're going to see more of Rabbi Tzadok in just a moment. Maybe we should just go ahead and do that now, because you want to kind of see where he's coming from. It's important. Let's see.
One of the lesser known great treasures of history.
That's not the one there. 1 second. Let's look at this here as well.
Is not to come from heaven, but is to arise from inner earth.
Let me back up just a little bit there.
Is to arise from heaven. The army of the Messiah is not to come from heaven, but is to arise from inner earth, and therefore dominate the surface world. Perhaps.
So the army of the Messiah, according to Rabbi Tzadok, is derived from the inner earth. And of course, he goes into the reptilians. There's many places where he teaches that there was a good or there's good reptilians and bad reptilians. But he clearly teaches in his own synagogue and on his own channel that there's a good reptilian that's going to reach his hand out, and the Jewish people are to embrace it. I have no desire for embracing any type of reptilian. And he's not alone. You have, actually this one here. We'll go into this one here in a little bit here. Let me just see here if it's from this one here. Nope, sorry. Nope, still not right. Maybe here. Yeah, here we go. Rabbi, Jews are not of this world. We're sent to conquer it. And that is Rabbi Laitman, who also believes that the serpent was the helper of mankind. And I've probably played that for you guys before, so I won't play it again. But he believes that the Jewish people are from another planet. I don't necessarily can't say that I agree with that, but I can certainly see where this elite group that is coming in now, tell them where they're from. All right, continuing on. Now we get into this part here. They divide the land for the price. And at the time of the end shall the king of the Negev, he shall push with. Emo is with him, not against him. Push with him. And the king of the north, it doesn't say shall come against him. V'isater aliyav melech hatzifon. The king of the north will come over him. Berekevet u befashurim. All right, he shall come over him. He's going to come over him like a storm, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries. All right, Baratzot, right there. Ubo Baratzot. Veshaft ve'avar, and she shall overflow them as he passes through. So you have to understand, in the days that Daniel wrote this, understanding what he sees is pretty difficult. But he sees the chariots, the flying chariots, so to speak, coming over, the horsemen. Now, we might even apply that, as I've showed you in the book of Joel, where the horsemen, the horses they run like horsemen. It is a reptilian being described in there. But the king of the south is working with the king of the north. That's what I'm seeing when I look, for example, at this type of meeting here, and the United States represented there. The United States representing, of course, the NATO alliance, and now you have the different Arabic nations coming in as well, working together. You now have the king of the north and the king of the south working together to do what? To overthrow certain countries in the Middle East. Because that's what the prophecy of Daniel is speaking about. They're going to come over. They don't attack Israel. The king of the south, the king of the Negev desert is the clue here, is going to come with the king of the north, and they together will overthrow these countries in the Middle East. And then we read in verse 41, he shall enter also into the beauteous land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall be delivered of his hand, Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon. Is that the reason why we see certain Arabic nations sitting together? Are these the children of Ammon? Are these the ones, in other words, they're not going to be a part, they're aligned with him, so they're not actually going to be the ones that are going to be stomped out. Now, I find it interesting, though, that the Egyptian Egyptian minister is sitting there at the table with them. And I say that because when you go down to the next verse, Egypt will be at his steps. And I already do know from the intel they're going to collapse Egypt. Again, because of that technology that they're wanting in there. So, all right, let me just make sure I see if there's anything else we've left out here. I don't want to leave anything else out there, but I wanted you to see these things this morning because I was really taken back by this summit called the Negev Summit. It's part of the Abraham Accords, a permanent alliance, and now they're calling it the Negev Summit in clear alignment with biblical prophecy. And let me just make sure. This is going back in. I'll just play this little clip here because the lady that speaks before Rabbi Tzadok speaks also goes into this thing about Solomon and his ring. So let's just play this clip as well.
Of Solomon's ring. And it is said that this ring had the name of God engraved upon it in a very secret and cryptic way.
The ring was representative of the authority from beyond this world. The wielder of that ring would be able to compel any and all who recognized that source of extraterrestrial power to do whatever he wished.
In the Islamic records, the ring of Solomon was...
So there you go there. That ring is from beyond this world. All right, and that does remind me, there is one other clip I wanted to play too where... and this, again, Rabbi Tzadok, part of the History Channel there. And this one is very important that you know about this particular clip as well. Let's play this one. And it all just shows you that extraterrestrial origins.
Brother. Nice to see you again. Great to see you. I've worked with this team to do everything we can think of to apply hard science in our investigations of the strange phenomena that keep happening at Homestead 2. We've tried ground-penetrating radar, laser scanning, LiDAR scanning, drilling, and even excavating, and gotten no definitive answers. All I know is that when we poke this nest, weird things seem to happen. So I've decided to invite a special guest to see if his methods can help. I'm Eric Barney. Eric? But at this point,
Here we go.
I don't know what we have to lose. I was just telling the guys that you were explaining to me how the Jewish faith looks a little differently at some of these strange phenomena than Christian faith. So I don't get it wrong. Why don't you just explain that?
Let's go back, a little bit of Bible study. The Bible makes mention of other indigenous races upon our earth. I'm not a scientist. I'm a clergyman. And I came to look at what is expressed here, not from a point of a scientific anomaly, but from a spiritual point of view. Recognize that the Bible does speak of these entities. They exist in what religion will call a spiritual plane. I guess maybe in modern terminology you might consider that a fourth dimension of space. You're the scientist, you'll discover that. What seems to be happening here is that there very well might be an indigenous earth spirit who's called this place home for as long as it has been alive. And the one thing that they find the most offensive is when human beings encroach upon their domain.
There are times on this property where you do get the sense of malevolence.
So you're getting right there more of the alien aspect of this. And let me just see where else he goes with this. I forget now.
And then disappearing. Coming.
Yeah, let me back it up.
Going. Coming and then disappearing. Coming and going.
Profound.
Now, Ariel has told me that the Hebrew rabbis know of a thing called tonal technologies. It's an acoustic technology that is believed to be able to open up the heavens, or a pathway, or a doorway, a portal, if you will.
My method, I believe seeing is believing. So what I believe to do is to teach others to see for themselves.
So
That's what it's all
let's
about.
talk about how we're going to do that now.
We are going to create a sacred place and do the traditional prayers for the opening of the gates. We will specifically invite whatever is here, if it's willing, to communicate, to show some sign, because these entities are out there. I already sense it.
Holy right there.
What is that? What is that?
We got something. Hold on. Right there. Yeah. Yeah, see it?
Oh, yeah.
Opening up the portals. That to me is almost like opening up the gates of hell. So remember, and I'll just in closing share with you this here. It's a foreign god. Gone completely away from the true Father. And that's the king of the Negev. His people have done that. Through this elite group have no regard. They have no, literally, not just the word regard is a horrible translation. Verse 37, they have no divine understanding of the true Father and what his purpose was. His purpose was to come and to find his bride and to take her home. Not to come here to wage wars and to make money off of waging wars and to serve some foreign entities, some demonic beings. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Listen, at the top of the screen there, you can see our mailing address. Also, I'll just share with you our website. That's also on the top of the screen for you there. But if God lays it upon your heart to support the work we're doing, IsraeliNewsLive.org, you can donate there online just by a click of the button, or our mailing address, either Stephen Ben-Nun, and that's Ben-Nun is how you spell my last name. Ben-Nun Institute, that is spelled differently. It's Denoon is the Institute, Ben-Nun Institute of P.O. Box 156, Sunbright, Tennessee 37872. If God truly lays it upon your heart to want to help the work that we do here, we appreciate it tremendously and we thank you for it. As I've been sharing with you, we're not quite at liberty yet to share why, but there is a tremendous need going on right now. So we do appreciate your love and support of the work we're doing. That's going to be able to be soon revealed. That time we've been given a time frame of when, a rough time frame of when that'll happen. I can't disclose that part as of yet, but we're going to be able to share that with you. Also, to let you know, we've talked about part 3. Yana's been working on that. So hopefully before the end of the week, we will be doing part 3 in that series that she began first on communism, but it's getting deeper and deeper as we go. And I'm very thankful that she's been able to once again speak publicly. And so we love you and we thank you for your many blessings and prayers for our family as well. God bless you and thank you.